Hello, my beautiful anomalies, and welcome back. I'm Estrella, your lovely host. The incident today is a sketchy one. I hope that was incident drawn together. Allow the evidence to speak for itself. Let's get into it. Ellie Reyes, age 17, is an aspiring artist and high school student. We will keep her location for the most part confidential due to her still being a minor, but we can disclose that she lives in a small town in Oregon. She has long brown hair and hazel eyes. She is an only child, and her parents had tried for another, but her mom ended up being diagnosed with cervical cancer, and it spread to her uterus, so she had to have a hysterectomy. Thankfully, her mother made it to complete remission, so she's still here with us today. Ellie was always a grade A student, balancing her other schoolwork with her numerous art projects and time for friends and her boyfriend, Ryan. Ryan is in her art class and they bonded over their love for Picasso. Her parents, Phil and Louise Reyes, both work from home. Her mother is a well-known artist and sells her oil paintings at flea markets and even ships them out to buyers around the world. And her father sells 3D printed masterpieces he's come up with himself. They are abstract, but there's certainly some charm in that style of art. What is your guys' favorite type of art? Leave that down in the comments, and while you're down there, give this video a like, share, subscribe, and if you haven't yet, as well, hit that noti bell so you don't miss a video from us. It was August 7th, 2017, around 10:30 a.m. when Ellie was headed to a weekend flea market in town with her parents. Her mom was setting up a booth for her paintings, and her dad was setting up his 3D prints. She had decided to venture around the flea market before the market went to full swing, and her parents would need assistance in the sales. Going past and pursuing different stalls, some had macrame, others had pottery. The one stall that really caught her eye was handmade sketchbooks. Leather-bound, handmade paper, she absolutely loved anything completely handcrafted. It takes more love and care to make something that is mass-produced and easy to acquire. She carefully sifts through the different sized sketchbooks and chooses one that has a leather cord wrapped around it with a burned engraving of the initial C. It was in a bin that had been labeled $4 sketchbooks. She hands over the $4 to the vendor. With it being homemade, she honestly figured it would be more than just $4. And over here at Site 30, we really don't get too much free time to be creative. Constantly keeping an eye on the SCP containments, making sure that D-class personnel are taken care of. We are just constantly busy bees. She took her treasure back to her parents' booth and helped them both with the sales for the rest of the evening. And after tearing down the booths, they ventured back home where Ellie rushed up to her room right after arriving and just couldn't wait to start drawing in her new sketchbook. She was shocked to see a drawing already there. It was a rural cottage environment with a drawing of a little girl standing in the foreground. At first she thought it was just a drawing, like on some unfinished animation frame or something. Really well done in like a comic character in pencil. Then the little girl moved. Not like flipping pages or like some sort of ghost messing with a sketchbook. She waved and smiled. Ellie thought she was going nuts. Just really tired from today's busyness. But no. The little girl then started drawing in the margins of the page and made a sign that says, "Hi, I'm Cassie." Ellie wrote back on the paper what her name was, and Cassie read it and drew her a little cat. Days go by, and every time Ellie comes home from school, she would talk to Cassie. Cassie told her about where she lived, and she was left alone a lot, and she really didn't mind as long as someone visited. They played tic-tac-toe. Cassie even asked her to draw a swing set in the background, so Ellie did, and Cassie used it. She asked Ellie about her life, and no one really asked Ellie that. To Ellie, Cassie felt real. More real than most of the people at school. And this was an encounter of SCP-085. 48 hours after the sketchbook was activated, the Foundation flagged multiple social media posts from Ellie's account talking about a magic drawing girl, and the sketchbook was recovered and returned to a secure art storage. Her exact location is redacted, so I don't even know where she's being kept at. All I know is that her containment is a single chalk white bond drawing pad, and all personnel entering or leaving the containment area are subject to random searches and psychoanalysis. There is absolutely no paper or canvas media allowed to exit the containment room, and any paper trash must be incinerated after careful inspection. And art supplies are to be brought by authorized personnel only. SCP-085 measures about 6 inches in height and about 1.5 inches in width. Her long hair is tied into a ponytail, and she wears a summer dress. She is usually black and white, though her drawing style can change to match that of the picture she's in. She also can wear other clothes given to her by Foundation staff. In case of fire, however, the flames are smothered by using a rapid atmospheric replacement and CO2 dumping system. You better get your oxygen mask on quickly, folks, if that happens. Otherwise, well, I think you know what would happen. She can interact with any of the drawn objects on the same page as if it were real, except from animals and people. She is able to wear clothes, drive sketch cars, and drink painted beverages. Any other object becomes animated when it comes in contact with her, but stops once out of contact. She actually started out as a drawing created by one of the test subjects using SCP-067, which I can do a case about that one as well if you guys would like. Just let me know down in the comments. And the drawing was originally normal until a Foundation doctor proposed to put it through SCP-914 under the fine setting, which, again, I can do a case on that one as well. That one is actually really interesting. Anyway, this resulted in the drawing becoming animated and coming to life. She is known to be very friendly to the Foundation personnel and capable of traversing onto other drawings or paintings. I think it is just so freaking cool that she can move on to different art pieces as well, as long as they're flush, of course. Even when she's in a different environment, her whole appearance shifts and takes on the art style of the new environment. In comic form, her voice is visible through little bubbles that will pop above her head, making it way easier for communication that way, I think. However, there was a containment breach way before this incident occurred by a researcher. One of the very strict rules of having SCP-085 is that we cannot let her know her true nature and what she is to prevent psychological distress. So she was made to think that there was an apocalypse and she was the only survivor. The Special Containment Procedure Report was taken into the containment chamber in which SCP-085 is contained, and she had contact with it. Several of the other researchers advocated that SCP-085 be terminated, but thankfully it was appealed. And after this breach, he had begun to show signs of clinical depression. Successive psychotherapy and optical illusions have been reported, and she had become very fond of a 1964 Ford Mustang convertible, transferring the parts one by one to more of a natural artwork than her blank canvas. She had assembled the vehicle by hand over a year's time, in which she had gotten gasoline through a Norman Rockwell painting of a gas station attendant. There are more things in the process of being approved for this little girl and her comfort within her existence. I am just so glad she is still here with us. Oh, I just got an email from Gary. I just got some more intel about what the Foundation has been doing for her to keep her spirits up. Granted, it's part of the test for SCP-294, which is a coffee machine if you guys didn't know. I can do a case on that one at some point if you like. Just let me know down in the comments. But a staff member requested a drink from it that SCP-085 would like. And the machine produced an empty paper cup with a drawing of a chocolate banana milkshake printed on it. This was allowed to be given to her, and she drank it, and she described it as delicious. In another test that reads here, this one was on SCP-261, which is a black vending machine. It dispenses random snack food. We aren't sure if it was the same staff member that did the other test or if it was a different one, but they inserted 1,000 yen, which it's the only currency that the machine takes, and it produced something just absolutely wonderful. The vending machine produced a drawing of a picnic basket, a checkered ground cloth, and a hand-cranked ice cream maker. Unfortunately, there is no data of what SCP-085 thought, probably because it had to be approved by the O5 Council, and I'll keep you updated on that. There was also at some point here in the Cliff Notes, that it was suggested to have her interact with SCP-423, which is another drawing-based SCP. Along with the different comforts that SCP-085 had received, she also got introduced to Mobile Task Force Theta-90. They needed to find a means to properly deal with other two-dimensional anomalies during their missions. They found her to be fitting for the job. The commander of the task force worked hard behind the scenes to allow them to use her, but faced some difficulty due to the use of anomalies and Foundation missions being frowned upon ever since the disaster around Omega-7. I can get to that here in a second here and kind of explain what happened to them. Anyway, SCP-085 received training in these missions and proved to be the key in not only the mission's success, but also their survival. She also got to meet new recruits as well. She wasn't so alone anymore after that. Getting to go on missions, meeting new people, helping any way that she can. Her existence seems to be getting better and better by the day. Now, MTF Omega-7's incident. It was also known as Pandora's Box. They were an experimental task force from the Foundation known for using humanoid anomalies such as SCP-076 and SCP-105 to acquire and contain other anomalies. It was during a mission that the task force leader grew restless and disabled the explosive collar on Abel, which is SCP-076. Which meant to control him, which ultimately led to a violent rampage. And to prevent Abel from escaping and doing more damage, the Foundation staff detonated an on-site nuclear warhead, which destroyed the facility they were in and killed everyone within it. And after this horrible incident, MTF Omega-7 was disbanded and decommissioned, which led to the creation of MTF Alpha-9. With the lesson learned from the failure of the previous task force, MTF Alpha-9 was a more successful task force that also used humanoid anomalies, but to a much greater effect. It was most certainly a valuable lesson, the failure of Omega-7. It highlighted the inherent dangers of relying on the more powerful and unpredictable anomalies for missions. It was also heard that SCP-085 heard of this new task force and was super interested in joining them. Guys, this incident was certainly just something. And I hope you found this incident enlightening and that just one person can make you feel less alone in this world. And I hope you learned something. Let us know in the comments about your thoughts and feelings of what SCP you'd like to see in a case file for the next case. Be safe, courteous, and polite out there. And until next time, and remember, stay anomalous.